Well, let's go on to chapter 2 as we talk about this book, Autopsy of a Deceased Church, and written by Tom Rainier. And chapter 2 is called this slow erosion. You know, if you read this, you remember he went back to his hometown and he said it looked like a ghost town. Everything had changed since he had been there last. And even as he was talking to one of the old businessmen there, it says in that second page, he said he did not notice the deterioration. We call that house blindness, and every one of us has that. I mean, there's plenty of things we're so used to. We go into our homes, we see them every day, and we just become oblivious to some of the things. So we don't see the chip in the paint, or we don't see the scratch in the floor, the slit in the linoleum, or the water stain here. We don't see that because we're so used to seeing that. And that becomes true in churches too. And he says here, he did not only saw it, but at the bottom of that page he says this slow erosion is the worst type of decline for churches because the members have no sense of urgency to change. See, it happens within churches. We get so used to everything that's going on and how we do it. Now, we've always done it in the past, that we don't have an urgency anymore because we don't sense that anything needs to change. I'm happy. Everything's good here. When the truth of the matter is it's crumbling right before our eyes. And when I say that, I mean like our building, the physical plant, the spiritual aspect of our church. Things start to crumble, but we don't realize them. It's kind of like that frog in the kettle. You know, if you take a pot of water and you warm up that pot of water, you get a boil, you put a frog in there, the frog will jump out because it's sudden. But if you take a frying pan and you put some water in there, you put that frog in there, you just turn the heat up slowly. That will heat and heat and heat, and that frog will never move, and it'll cook itself. Because there's just no urgency. He doesn't feel the urgency, and that happens within churches. Then at the bottom of that page, he says, often the decline is in the physical facilities. But it's much more than that. The decline is in the vibrant ministries that once existed. The decline is in the prayer lives of the members who remain. The decline is in the outward focus of the church. The decline is in the connection with the community. The decline is in the hopes and dreams of those who remain. Decline is everywhere in the church, but many don't see it. I'm sure that if we sat down and you started sharing some stories, and I'd like you to, share stories with one another, but talk about those ministries that once existed. Talk about, you know, the fireflies and the granary and all those things that we don't have them anymore. The prayer ministries, the prayer lives of the members, the outward focus of the church. So many things have changed and they just go by the wayside because we've just lost our way and we've forgotten what it looks like. As you talk about this slow erosion, once again, I'm going to ask you to do some hard analysis. Ask yourself the hard questions. You may not have the answers, and see, that's part of the problem. Sometimes churches and people, we try to come up with the answers, but we really don't know what the question is. And since we don't know what the question is, we come up with an answer, and maybe it works and maybe it doesn't. We need to know what the question is. Then we can be very specific in asking our God, what's the answer? Why have we gotten to a point where slowly eroding and we didn't notice it? God bless your Bible study time.